Kלים Perik Ches Mishnah Hey. So we've dealt, the first bit of the Perik dealt with Hatzalah of Toich Toichai. Now we're dealing with another method of Hatzalah within the Avir of a Kli Cheres. Let's just recap. Toich Toichai was a method of Hatzalah that if you have a Toich of a Kli Cheres and you have another Kli which sticks into the airspace, into the Toich of the outer Kli, and the Pesach of this inner Kli is completely outside the outer Kli, thus creating a little sort of bubble, a confined space, bordered by the walls of the inner Kli, then that little space, the little bubble, is called a Toich Toichai, and the sheretz in that area will not be able to be metame the outer Kli. Or vice versa, if there's a sheretz in the outer Kli, it will not be able to be metame in the Urchel and the Mashkin that find itself in the Toich Toichai. That was the Hatzalah which we mentioned in the previous Mishnahs. Now we're coming to a second method of Hatzalah, a method called Balua. This is a method of Hatzalah. It stops Dvorim Tameim being able to be metame. It also stops Dvorim Tahorim being able to become Tamei in the first place from a Davar Tamei. Balua means if something is swallowed up completely inside the body cavity of a Baal Chai, not in the mouth, that's not called Balua, but further inside the body, in the stomach or anywhere else, inside the body of a live animal or person, then that thing is called a Balua. If the Dover which is Balua is a Dover Tamei, it is not able to be Metame under any circumstances. In other words, if, for instance, a person or an animal would eat a kazayis of a basar hames, and then the animal or person would go into a room, the basar hames will not be able to be metame the room. And the Mishnah in Oles Perikut Aleph Mishnah Zayin talks about a kelev, a dog which eats a piece of mace, and then it says umeis hakelev, the dog has to die in order for the kazayis to be metame. As long as the dog is alive, it's not able to be metame, because a balua is not metame. Similarly, if a dog swallows any other type of metame, which is going to be discussed in this Mishnah, Tarnagol Shabolas HaSheretz, if a chicken or a hen swallows a dead sheretz, V'nofal Avir Tanur, and the whole chicken, the live chicken, enters the Avir HaTanur, the sheretz, although it finds itself within the confines, within the toich of the tanur, the sheretz is not able to be metame because the sheretz is now in a state of balua. It's not a tahara, it's not a mikveh. One isn't metayah the sheretz. If, for instance, afterwards the tanagal were to spit out the sheretz, then the sheretz is still able to be metame. And we will also refer to a Mishnah in Mikvois, and the Mishnah in Mikvois is in Perik Yud Mishnah Ches. If one swallows a tabas tahira or swallowing a tabas tamea, I would refer to Gemara in Chulin Daf Ein Aleph on the base and Ein base on the Aleph. Again, clearly all cases of balua, completely the rules of tumah are completely suspended. While something is balua, it is not able to be metame. If it comes out of the body, as long as it hasn't been fully digested, it goes back to being able to be metame. Similarly, something which is inside a Baal Chai isn't able to pick up tumah. So if a person has a ring inside his stomach and enters into an oil ames, the ring remains tahor. So a balua is a complete suspension of all the rules of tumah. Says the Mishnah, if the chicken dies, now we don't have the heter of the hatzalah of balua. The sheretz which finds itself in the stomach of the dead chicken is now able to be metame the kli cheres around it. And the sefer of the Mishnah is something we mentioned before. Again, one of the really basic principles of how tumah works inside the kli cheres. Sheretz shenimsa betanur. One has a classic case of an avatuma sheretz inside a tanur of cheres. Hapas shebesoichai, any bread, any food that finds itself in the tanur, even if it's there at the same time as the sheretz, the bread is a shniyah. it's got a din of a sheni l'tumah because the bread is not mekabel tumah direct from the sheretz. This is the principle we said before. We do not regard as the sheretz as filling up the whole kli cheretz. We don't say commander malia tumah domi. We'd say that with a mace, the ksayis of mace and the oil. But when a sheretz is inside a tanur, the reason why the tanur is tummy because the Torah says that a sheretz inside the toich, that's how you touch a tanur. That's how you touch a kli cheretz. But the sheretz doesn't expand and mitame anything as it's blowing up and filling up the kli cheretz. It doesn't do that. The only way the bread picks up tumah is because it finds itself in the confines of a kli cheretz which has become tummy. So the kli cheretz becomes a rishon, and the bread becomes a sheni. So the Mishnah says, "Hapasha b'seich hashniya shatanur tchila," and therefore it doesn't make a difference whether the pas is inside the tanur at the same time the sheretz is, or after the sheretz is taken out. The bread can only pick up tumah from the kli cheretz around it. The bread therefore becoming a sheni l'tumah.